Gatekeeper gets
Hi.
some really fun updates here. I think that, the initial response from a lot of people is, oh my God, everything's different. Well, no, it's not. It's the same Gatekeeper process that we know and love. Gatekeeper on macOS has long been part of the security story, and it makes sure that the code that runs on your system is code that is properly signed as of, a couple years ago, notarized, which means Apple's got a copy on file that they have stamped, that certain requirements have been met with regards to the hardened runtime and other security standards. We have seen a lot of, opportunity here to make some accountability required of our developer community. And, as much as it's been a pain in the behind, for users who are maybe trying to run unsigned code. I mean, not that M1 machines run unsigned code, but that's neither here nor there. It's certainly a part of the admin landscape that we are familiar with, that we understand what the quarantine bit is for, that we understand the value of having a common signing authority that makes sure that your software is safe, or if that it's proven unsafe eventually, you can safely rip that out as the operating system, not necessarily just as the admin environment. So there are some major changes here to Gatekeeper's operation, and I'll refer everyone to Apple's Worldwide Developers Conference videos, which they put out every year. There are some really great updates to Gatekeeper in macOS 13. Specifically, these have to do with software updates. So that if you are, an application on disk, you can make sure that the only way to update your application is your own update process. So that if you're a piece of software, say com.jumpcloud. Darwin-agent, which is the name of the JumpCloud agent, right, on disk, you can make sure that only the same signing ID can update that, binary, which makes it secure to keep your software update processes in the family. This does cause complications for individual applications that are being updated by a third-party process. For example, I always think of the amazing open source project Monkey, which operates as a signed binary. Don't expect that it doesn't do that. It's definitely part of a signed set of tools. But you're going to need to extend some application permissions that are brand new as part of this. And I'll point everybody again at Apple's great developer documentation, which calls out a brand new privacy service as part of the privacy preferences policy control section. And it's called System Update App Bundles, or System Policy App Bundles. That's right, SPAB. System Policy App Bundles, which will allow a given code signing identifier. You're familiar with those long blocks of code that come out of code sign space dash dr space dash and then the path to the application. That's going to give you all of the signing certificate information for a given application binary. If you specify that that right applies to that application tool, then you're going to be able to update those apps. So be ready, but you're not going to want to apply that to a macOS 12 system in preparation for upgrade. You're only going to want to apply that preference to a macOS 13 device. macOS 12 will look at that key and say, huh, and then throw it out. It won't understand how to deal with that particular tool. It won't understand how to deal with that environment when the update is complete. You should only apply those updates or those policies to macOS 13 devices, or be in a state where after an upgrade, it's applied to that system again.
Yeah, the backward compatibility for new keys is kind of mixed sometimes with a new policy or a new profile that has a mix of things that are 12 and 13 in them, and sometimes that profile will just get rejected because it has things that are invalid, and at other times it just has those are ignored until the system basically understands what it is when you upgrade. But it's not super clear as the one who's writing those profiles or who's distributing them, what's going to happen on a system that's older. So a lot of times you'll have the strategy is here's the profile for Monterey systems, here's the profile for Ventura systems, and so that complicates things a little bit. Unfortunately, it's Apple's priority is not necessarily making the Mac admins' life easier. They're they're adding new features. They're focused on, improving the user experience. And to them, that also includes keeping, the bad guys from controlling your Mac. If it also happens to make it more difficult for the legitimate admin to take over and control your Mac, well, then it's working as designed. And you just have to trust that the Mac admins in the world are going to figure out which hoops to jump through, and Apple's going to only allow the legitimate people that have the right signing certificate and the right notarization and all that to get through those hoops. And so that's, it makes our lives a little bit harder, but it does make the user experience ultimately better, and that's really where Apple's priority lies.
Please subscribe and check out more content from us.